It has begun. Turkish forces have now crossed into the Syrian border and launched an operation in Kurdish controlled areas. Just like we said, what was going to happen after Donald Trump announced that he would be pulling out U.S. troops. So now the Turkish military says that they are working with the Syrian National Army, adding that the area that they're targeting uh, involves Kurdish fighters as well as ISIS extremists. And by the way, the Islamic State is essentially beaten, but taking advantage of the Turkish invasion into northern Syria to attack Kurdish targets, ISIS decided to attack Raqqa. So now here we've got ISIS that is emboldened thanks to the Turkish invasion. So now it's becoming a complete and utter mess. Now, Erdogan, who's the leader of Turkey, said this. He said, "Our mission is to prevent the creation of a terror corridor across our southern border and to bring peace to the area." Well, good job. Bang up job, Erdogan. No, you did the opposite. You just invited ISIS to now attack targets while you were too busy fighting with the Kurds. Which, by the way, Kurds are our biggest allies against the Islamic State. Again, we knew what was going to happen. We said what was going to happen as soon as we, left the area. And what do you know? Now it's happening. Now, ahead of the operation, Turkish soldiers had used heavy equipment to remove concrete border walls. So that's ironic. So I just wanted to point that out. Yes, they were able to take down the border wall so that troops could cross. Now, on Tuesday, Turkey had reportedly struck the Syrian Iraqi border to keep Kurdish forces, using it from a conduit to reinforce their positions. So, again, both sides were expecting fighting, and now this is what's happening. Now, the operation, according to Mustafa Bali, a spokesperson for the Kurdish led forces, said this quote, "The operation is causing fear among the U.S.'s Kurdish allies. Turkish warplanes have started to carry out airstrikes in civilian targets. There is a huge panic among the people of the region." Now they're going after civilians. Oh, no, we're going after ISIS. We're going after terrorists. No, you're going after civilian areas. No, this is terrible. Absolutely terrible. And again, exactly what we said was going to happen. Now, Brett McGurk, who was Donald Trump's special envoy for the fight against ISIS, said this in an interview with NPR. He said, "Presidents do a lot of things, but the most consequential are decisions of war and peace like this, and you can't make decisions on a haphazard basis after a single call with a foreign leader." And by the way, that's what happened. Donald Trump, after one call with Erdogan, decided, oh, yeah, we're going to unilaterally pull out of Syria with no plan. We're not going to tell our allies in the region. We're not going to tell anybody. We're just going to go. Gone. And so Turkey's like, and Erdogan specifically, and by the way, Turkish people are not our enemy. So let's be very clear about that. There's the right-wing Turkish government led by Erdogan, who is I believe he's a proto-fascist. Okay. So he's doing all this. And by the way, again, Turkish people are our allies. They're a member state in NATO, the second largest army in NATO. And so, again, they're our allies in the Middle East, and I want to make sure they continue to be our allies. But at the same time, we made promises to the Kurdish people in exchange for their help in fighting ISIS. So what do? Well, apparently under Trump, we backstab one ally to appease another. And this is after one phone call. And by the way, this is also after we are reminded of the fact that Donald Trump has business interests in Turkey, in Istanbul. So I wonder if that has anything to do about that. So now, let me give you more information here. Again, Turkish warplanes have started bombing civilian areas, so there will likely be some civilian casualties, which is a disaster. And so all of this, big disaster. Now, here's the thing. It appears that the Turkish government did not take President Trump's threat seriously. Remember, Donald Trump, after he said, oh, yeah, no, we're going to pull out, we're tired of doing these endless wars in the Middle East and interfering in quote unquote tribal conflicts, he said, as I have strongly stated before, and just to reiterate, if Turkey does anything that I, in my great and unmatched wisdom, consider to be off limits, I will totally destroy and obliterate the economy of Turkey. I've done it before. No, you haven't. Disaster. You don't say that to an ally. There are ways that we can do this where, yes, we can obviously not make an enemy of Turkey, and I don't want to, but do this in a way, withdraw from the area, but in a way that actually protects our Kurdish allies as well. And you know, there was actually a way that the Pentagon was working on. And I know, I'm not a huge person that, you know, has huge faith in the Pentagon, but they were working on a way to do that, to create a safe zone, right? A specific zone where, you know, Kurdish people can be able to go without being attacked by Turkish forces or Syrian forces or Iraqi forces or anything like that, right? A place where they can actually go. But Donald Trump pretty much abandoned that, which has led to the current crisis. So now what? What's going to happen? Is Donald Trump going to put sanctions on Turkey, on one of our allies? I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen. But I know this is just another betrayal of our Kurdish allies. Again, this would be the 8th time that we have basically stabbed them in the back. And now what's going to happen? Absolute bloodshed. So whatever slaughter happens going forward, unfortunately, that's going to be both on, of course, the Turkish government's hands and on Trump's. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.